Hi guys. Um yeah, this is Prince again. I'm back on my online shopping channel. Haven't been recording for some time now, but I'm very lucky and fortunate to be recording again today. So the purpose of this tutorial is to take you through upgrading a .NET Core project to use latest libraries, because over time these projects get outdated. The example I'll be using now is a project that I was working on a couple of years ago, and it's quite outdated. I believe it was running on .NET 3.1, and as you can see, I'm gonna upgrade it quickly to .NET AspNetCore .NET 8. So enjoy the ride, and we're gonna dive into it now. If you followed my videos in the past, you would know that for every tutorial or video we have a code. So for this one, the code goes like this. It's one step for man, one giant leap for mankind. This is a quote by Neil Armstrong that he shared when he was working on the Apollo 11 project years ago, 1960 I believe or so, if I'm not mistaken. But it's baby steps guys, one step at a time. I guess that's the basis of the code. That's how we move forward. But anyways, without wasting any time, let's dive into it. So on Visual Studio, if you have an outdated project, you would normally see something like this. This tells you that the solution contains packages with vulnerabilities, and it will also tell you that packages are outdated or some are conflicting. But vulnerabilities are the most concerning one, because some they impose security threats and issues like that. So for this tutorial, all we're going to cover is these two things. Not a lot, just two. We ensure that the project is up. Firstly, we update all the nugget packages once we are done with that, and then we ensure that the project is up and running in .NET 8. Ensure that there's no package vulnerabilities, right? Okay, cool. Let's dive into it. I'm gonna flip on to my Visual Studio. This is where we're at. Our online shopping API. You notice this one I've already updated it to .NET 8. If you look at this one, it's still running on AspNet.NET Core 3.1. This one is also running on .NET Core 2.1. On this journey, we're gonna try and move slower, but while covering more details around the concept of what you are trying to achieve. So I'm just gonna rush through this and do the same thing over here. So this one will be, we're changing this whole thing to .NET 8.0, and then I want to actually just save that and move ahead onto the next one and do the exact same thing. This will be .NET 8.0, and then save this. So now I'm just going to quickly rebuild my project. So if there's any packages that are conflicting or anything like that, we might get errors at this stage, but otherwise everything might build successfully. It depends on your setup and what packages you are using on your project. So I'm just going to wait for it to finish and give me the results. So yeah, lucky us, all three projects built successfully with no errors. So now we need to sort out this part. So normally when you expand your project and look at dependencies, packages, you'll see which ones are affected. So for instance, for this customer card microservice, you can see that the automapper is complaining. The automapper extension Microsoft dependency injection package is also complaining. So moving on to the next one. The MVC shopping UI looks okay to me. I don't see any packages that are actually conflicting on here, so I'll skip that one and go over to the shopping API, the most important one, and that one also looks fine. So yeah, like you asked, let's see if we can actually quickly update this, because another thing I wanted to notice is that the libraries we are using is version 6.4, version 6.4, version 3.1.5, version 3.1.25, version 5.0.9, but we just updated the project to .NET 8, so we want to upgrade the packages to align with that. So let's go through this quickly and see how it goes. So I'm gonna click on my solution and manage .NET packages, or manage NuGet packages rather. And then the first one I wanna look at is the automapper. So this is the library we've been using in the past to assign our model properties sort of dynamically without having to do it explicitly. I would rather say implicitly, because normally in the past you declare an object and then look at the property values of this one, assign it to the other one, but with the automapper you just pass the other one through and it does it for you in the background. So that's the first package we want to look at. Automapper right now is installed, but it's on 11.0.1, and that 11.0.1 seems to have an error or a vulnerability. So it's vulnerable. Let's just quickly find a version that is not vulnerable. So if you look at 16.1 is not vulnerable, but if I go to the one that is currently installed, 11.0.1, which is this one. So I'll copy this name of this package and then select that, uninstall this out of the project. We don't need it anymore. So while it removes the package for us in the background, then it's gone. So if I go browse, this is if you really need that package, by the way. If you go browse, now you can paste the automapper that we have copied from when we were uninstalling it, and then come over here, and now I will look for one that doesn't have vulnerabilities, because you can see 16.1.0 is vulnerable, 16.0.0 is also vulnerable. So meaning at this point I'm either gonna go with 15.1.3 or I'm gonna go with 16.1.1. So I'll take 16.1.1, or I can just go with, it's actually the latest stable version, by the way. So let's go ahead and install that one. Accept, and the package is in. Moving on to the next one. This is also another component of the AutoMapper that needs to be updated. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing like before. Nothing fancy. So this one I want to uninstall, get it out of the project. Successfully uninstalled. So yeah, this one is gone. If now I go browse, and on the browser, and then I will then look for that exact same package that I had copied before. I had it on my clipboard, so it's easy for me not to forget the name or confuse the name of the package. So I'll just go ahead and paste this. Then there we have it. So this time around we can see that somehow the very last version, which is 12.0.1, is deprecated, but 12.2 is still available for use and also not vulnerable, so meaning it's safe to go with this one. It's not installed yet, we just removed the base package, so I'm gonna go ahead and install that. Does the installation for me, and then it's busy installing and successfully installed. This is on shopping customer cart microservice, and then on shopping API it's also successfully installed. So yeah, it seems to be complaining. Why does it still have a yellow? But anyways, moving on. Now we're going to look at the updates. Looks like we have about 11 packages that needs to be updated. Let's have a look which ones. Okay, so it's all the database stuff. I'm looking at entity framework code tools. This is all like the stuff that allows you to communicate to the database in .NET Core. Yeah, the whole technology of .NET Core is dependent on these packages for interactions with the database or database setup. So let's go ahead and look at this one. I believe this one we just fixed it not so long ago. Why is it still here? Because it's complaining about this version that is deprecated. We don't want that version. So it's saying this package version is deprecated. Go there, stop, can't see any updates. Yeah, let's go in there. This one is deprecated. But why does it want us to install it then? What about 11? So we'd have to uninstall that and install this. I'm going to skip over that one and go to the most stable ones. So this one, the AspNetCore diagnostic entity framework core. This one you need to select something that is closer to .NET 8, because you'll notice that if you select something like .NET 9 or 10 for example, it will fail because it needs to be aligned with your project SDK version. So I'm expecting an error right now that says this package is conflicting with the project. So there we go. Package restore failed. Going back to package changes for MVC shopping UI. So that one tells me that the package Microsoft AspNetCore Diagnostics Entity Framework Core 10.0.5 is not compatible with .NET 8. So I need to get something that is more closer so that it's compatible to .NET 8, and the latest stable version for .NET 8 was 8.0.25. Let's try that one. And there we go, that one is in. So of the 11, now we're left with 10 updates to do. So the diagnostics should be sorted now. Now we're going to look at the Microsoft AspNetCore Identity Entity Framework. Oh, I love this package. This is the one that allows us to do authentication, play around with roles and stuff. We'll see that in the next coming videos, by the way. So let's quickly update this one to something that is, you see, it's a very old package. It's 3.1.28, which makes sense because of the time the project was created, the time I was doing these videos, I was using .NET 3.1. So this package was more of like a latest package at that time. Now it's not the case anymore. So we need to update it to something newer. Same thing over there with Microsoft AspNetCore Identity UI. I'll quickly update this. Microsoft Entity Framework Core, notice how this one is a different message. So it's not just complaining about being outdated, it's also complaining about multiple versions that are currently installed. So because we're doing a microservice approach, it means we have different projects that are communicating to each other somehow. So there and there we might be using similar packages for implementing similar functionality. So in this case, this one on the custom account microservice, I have 5.0.9, whereas on the shopping API I have 5.0.9. But the issue is with the MVC shopping UI, which has 8.0.25, and this is a transitive package for MVC shopping UI, meaning the package is not directly installed onto a project as a naked package. However, there's another package that is installed on the project that sort of uses the Microsoft Entity Framework Core package. Hence, it's a transitive package level. It says right here. So if it's top level, it's directly. If it's transitive, it means it's being used by another package that is actually installed. So I'm going to select this and make sure that all of these are running on the same version as well, 8.0.25. I accept that. Entity framework core design, same issue, so we select everything and we grab the correct version and we just install that version. Exit. And entity framework core SQL Server, multiple versions installed, we just explained this, and this one, it's actually all top level packages. So yeah, something was seriously wrong when I was installing those packages, but it's easy to miss, to be honest, because sometimes you let Visual Studio do it for you automatically if you are writing your code, whereas others will manually install it yourself because you know up front that you're going to need it. So yeah, it's always possible that you miss something every now and then because you are doing your setup. So install that, accept. We're almost done. We have 3 more and then that's it. Afterwards we're just gonna do like a basic local testing, just to go over where we stopped or where we ended with these videos before we jump on to the next one, where we will actually continue with the series of our changes, or of our tutorial rather, because it's not just changes. I don't have an 8.0.25 for Visual Studio Web Code Generation Design, so I'm going to take 23 and then I select 29. Wow. Install that one. Then we accept that version. Only up until 8.1.4. So this is for the API documentation. So I'll take that one. Only have up until 8.1.4 again, and then I'm going to accept that. Okay, I think we are done now. The only outstanding package that we need to look at, it's the AutoMap. So yeah, I decided to end with this one because of this issue over here. So the latest stable version happens to be deprecated, but if I go select 12.0.0 and install that, what then happens? Takes in 12.0.0, but still complains that this one is deprecated. So meaning this somehow is still within our project. So I'm gonna look at all three projects on Solution Explorer and see if we can manually delete this package. So we want 12.0.1, so we don't actually have it on the customer card microservice, so I'll skip that and then move on to the next one. And we don't have it either on the MVC shopping UI, which is good. This is all exciting for me. And then on the shopping API also, is it there? No, it's not. So I'll consider my upgrade completed at this point. You would wonder why it still complains that there's 11 updates that needs to be done. This is the reason for this is simple, because the latest version of .NET is currently version 10. You'd notice that it's expecting us to be using the latest stuff, which is .NET 10. And we've seen with the Entity Framework Core.SQL package, when we try to install the latest version on the lower .NET Core application, it sort of complained that there's a conflict, the packages are not compatible. So for that reason, at the moment we'll be running on .NET 8, that we should be just fine. It's not that outdated, and .NET 8 is currently the LTS for Microsoft, so you are okay if you are running on .NET 8. So now let's go ahead and look at what this application does for us and what we'll be looking at on our next thing. So I want to go ahead and save all of those changes, because as you update the packages, it sort of makes changes on the CS project file automatically in the background for you. So yeah, if you don't save that, it means all of the changes will now be rolled back, meaning you must redo your upgrade. And then now we just want to rebuild everything, make sure everything is still okay, there's no funny errors or whatsoever. Okay, good. Everything went successful. So now I believe this application is configured to run multiple projects at the time. Yeah, that is the case, because I have a shopping API, I have a customer card, microservice, which is also another API, and then I have an MVC shopping UI where I'm interacting with these APIs. So let's start that up. voila, everything is still up and running, which is good. Very excited to see this. So at this point, this is where we ended with our tutorial. So the next series of videos we will be going through looking at how do we actually add something on our card, and how do we actually have that card calculate the items that the user has. And furthermore, we want to look at how do we authenticate this user to begin with, because right now we have John as a logged in user, which is really not true because John is sort of a hard-coded user. So we want to get all of this information dynamically and then make sure that the correct person is doing a request, and we can trace back this request to that particular user. So let's go ahead and see where we added this. If you go to add to a cart, if you had looked at tutorial 7, I believe this is where it ends. Now the next step that comes up is making sure that when we click on this add button, it actually does something. So now please tune in for the next tutorial where we look at going through adding this item into a cart and then viewing our user cart. Thank you for watching.